Welcome back to In the Kitchen with Grace. Today we are doing Swedish meatballs with a shell pasta bake. This is like a casserole style dinner. Easy for weeknights. It makes leftovers, which I love. I am at the stove. I'm going to start here. I've got myself a medium skillet, 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to turn my stove onto medium heat. I'm going to go ahead and add in, I'm using 1 small yellow onion. Anytime you're doing meatballs, honestly, I don't feel like there's a difference in the kind of onion. Usually I will use white or yellow. If you've got red, just use it. It's fine. I love to use whatever you have on hand when it works well. You could totally add in more onion if you would like to. I have picky eaters in my house, so I kind of go a little light on onion, but I would say anywhere from half a cup to a cup of your onion will work well. I did a quick dice here of the onion, and some of the pieces are still a little big. So I'm gonna give this, I don't know, maybe 2 to 3 minutes. We're gonna let the butter melt, let the onions kind of sizzle up just a little bit. We're gonna add in some nutmeg, and we're gonna add in, if you have allspice, you can use allspice. I don't. Whenever I do meatballs, I like to use Italian seasoning. You're totally able to use whichever you prefer. I'm gonna put all of the ingredients and the directions in the description below for you. So if you're new, welcome. Welcome to In the Kitchen with Grace. I do lots of easy, yummy recipes. So today for our meatballs, I'm going to do a pound of ground venison and a pound of ground beef. And I really like to be able to do recipes where you can swap or mix the venison in for or with your beef. Venison in general is just a lighter, leaner meat than ground beef. So it's a little bit healthier. And when you can find a recipe where you can replace the beef altogether without your kids knowing, I mean, that's totally a mom win, right? We'll get to the meatballs here in just a minute. We're going to go ahead and add in some seasoning. I'm going to add in some Italian seasoning. Let me just open this baby up. I'm going to do about 3 teaspoons worth. Seems like a lot, but when you're doing meatballs, it kind of absorbs a lot of flavor. And we've got some nutmeg. I'm going to add 1 pinch. So we've let the butter melt and the onions kind of simmer for a good 2 to 3 minutes. I'm going to add in some minced garlic, about 3 tablespoons. We'll let that kind of simmer up here for a minute. Style of making meatballs that I normally do. Normally I just put all the ingredients right into a bowl right off the bat, and I do not simmer any of it first. But this is a nice little change up. All right, we're going to add in about 2/3 cup of milk. We're going to let this simmer and thicken up nicely. While I'm waiting for this to thicken up, I'm going to go put my meat into a large bowl. So I'm going to unwrap my pound of ground venison. If you're looking for some other venison ideas, I've got a pretty good venison chili recipe. And again, you could also probably just completely swap out any ground beef in any of my meatloaf and meatball recipes with ground venison. Because those recipes are packed with flavor and you honestly won't even know the difference. And here is my pounds of ground beef. I'm going to wash my hands here real quick. I have a second bowl here, one a little bit smaller. And I am going to grab my breadcrumbs. I like to use a blend of panko and other breadcrumbs. You're gonna do about 1 1/4 cups. That is about a cup. Fourth. We do a lot of meatballs and meatloaf in our house, so I've got a pretty good gauge on the cup of breadcrumbs. I'm just sprinkling probably about 1/4 cup of, this happens to be garlic and herb. I usually use Italian if I have those. Just a little blend here. All right, we are going to go grab our skillet with the milk, onions, and butter. It's gotten relatively thick. A lot of the milk has evaporated out. And we are going to add this into our breadcrumbs. I'm going to mix this together. We're gonna let this cool for just a couple of minutes. Let it cool. I'm gonna go off and take off my ring. Anytime I'm mixing together meat, I like to take off any jewelry because you don't, even when you wash your hands afterwards, you don't want any bacteria or anything to get caught in the crevices of your rings. So I take mine off and I'm gonna get together 2 eggs here. And we're gonna quickly make sure that all of our meat is thawed. Got one little chunk here that's not quite there yet. It's almost there. I can break it apart pretty easily. If you need to defrost any of your meat in your microwave, you can do so. It doesn't take very long. We get our pork and our beef from local meat lockers, which is why it looks so nice and rich. You can see that nice, rich. It's not packed with a bunch of filler, which is what happens when you buy ground meat from the grocery stores. Okay. And I'm going to kind of pre-mix the venison and the hamburger together. I missed a chunk here. What is on your meal plan for this week, guys? Leave your dinners or even your lunches, your meal prep lunches, in the comments below, because everybody's always looking for some ideas to spruce up their meals. Okay, we're gonna give this a nice mix. Lately, we have done, what have we made? My goodness, it's been busy. We've done sheet pan dinner. We did maple Dijon sausage, which is really yummy, with some roasted fall vegetables. I'm gonna go ahead and take my 2 eggs, crack them right over my meatloaf. We did some ranch chicken, like seasoned chicken breasts, for meal prep lunches. We've done turkey cheddar melts with bacon jam. I'm getting ready to make a white chicken lasagna, which sounds so good, with spinach and creamy Alfredo. What I'm doing here is I'm just mixing the egg in really, really well. This is a gooey recipe, friends. Don't worry, I'll make it. It's okay to get gooey in the kitchen. Okay, I'm gonna go rinse my hands because I need to let this finish cooling off here for about another minute or 2. Then we're gonna add it right into our meat. All right, so I have my oven heating up to 375 degrees. You could also set it at 400 if you want to cook your meatballs slightly faster. I'm going to go ahead and take my onion breadcrumb mix, put it into my meatball mixture, and again, we're going to get gooey. First, I'm going to grab some fresh thyme. Been drying my kitchen herbs, and I'm going to go ahead and just peel these right off. I'm going to use about 2 sprigs of thyme. That one came off easy. All right, we're going to go ahead and mix this. Again, you want to make sure that your breadcrumbs have cooled completely. If your kids like to help in the kitchen, this is always fun for the kids to make the meatballs. They like to get messy. Just make sure that they wash their hands thoroughly afterwards, right? All right, I'm gonna kind of gently scoot this to the side. I have my baking dish, and I'm just gonna start making my meatballs. Put them together here. Picked up a couple of vintage cookbooks today. I'm really looking for, and a couple of Amish cookbooks. I'm looking forward to kind of perusing through them. A lot of the recipes I make often for our family are just recipes passed on down to me, like that I learned from mom, grandma, great-grandma. But it's always fun to kind of find something new and different to try. So I feel like my recipes a lot of times are kind of traditional recipes from a long time ago. But it's fun to find other older classic traditional recipes and give them a whirl. Spruce up our own monthly meal plan just a little bit. I love to bake, and so I like to find baking recipes that are kind of more old-fashioned, I guess, which is why I picked up the Amish cookbooks. I'm looking forward to learning maybe something new there. It is getting closer to Thanksgiving and Christmas. So if you're looking for some holiday dish ideas, I have some really easy side dishes that you can make and take to your family get-togethers for the holidays. Things like green bean casserole, sweet potato casserole. Oh my gosh, my sweet potato casserole is amazing. It's got pecans on it or in it. And it's just yummy. I love it. I do a walnut thyme pull-apart bread, which is pretty tasty. It's got some blue cheese on top. So if you like blue cheese, that's a fun bread recipe. Let's see here. We do ham for Christmas in our family. And so I have 3 different ham glaze recipes that are easy to make, and they are so good. I'll try to link to those above, but if not, go check them out, ham glazes, on my channel here. You can also find my recipes pinned over on Pinterest in the Kitchen with Grace, so if you want to pin and save any of them. This recipe makes a lot of meatballs. This is a great recipe when you need leftovers for like the next 2 to 3 days. We're gonna make a second or a 4th row here. And then Christmas cookies. I have all sorts of cookie recipes, you guys, on my channel. I'm trying to think. I have Oreo peppermint. We did holiday scotcheroos last year. Sea salt chocolate chip cookies. Oatmeal scotchies. I've got a really yummy oatmeal butterscotch cookie recipe. We just did iced oatmeal cookies, the old-fashioned kind. Those were delicious. They're so soft. You know, I have so many recipes on this channel now, you guys. Over 300. Can you believe it? It is crazy how fast time goes by and how much cooking one does in the kitchen. And I forget sometimes of all the things that we have made over the last year and a half. All right. Oh, I've got one itty-bitty little meatball. Okay. stick you in right there. I'm gonna wash my hands again. We're gonna bake these in the oven for about 15 minutes. Don't worry, we'll finish cooking them, but we're gonna make the sauce and the pasta in the meantime. So pop these into the oven and we'll check back in here shortly. All right, you guys, we are back over at the stove. I have a medium saucepan. I've added water. I've got it going on medium heat. I'm letting it come to a boil, and then I'm going to add in my shell pasta. And while our pasta is cooking al dente, you don't want to have it cooked completely all the way because it's going to finish cooking in the oven when the rest of the meatballs finish cooking. We're going to work on our sauce. Now, this is a Swedish meatball sauce. If you have picky kids in your family like I do, you can totally add in some cheese. Sometimes I add in a little bit of Velveeta, or I will get, there's like cans of cheddar cheese, like nacho cheese. You can find it by like your pizza ingredients, usually in the grocery store. So sometimes I'll add in about a half cup's worth of cheese, melted, and mix it in as well. I'm gonna leave it out today, but that is an option to make it cheesy if you like have cheesy loving people in your family. So I'm gonna start by adding 6 tablespoons of butter to my skillet. We're gonna let this melt just a little bit. And you're gonna wanna add anywhere from 2 to 3 cups of pasta. I like to do 2.5 myself because you want this to really be a saucy dish. But if you would like it to be a little bit thicker and not quite as saucy with the meatballs, you could do 3 cups of pasta. I'm gonna do 2.5 because I kind of like it right perfect amount of, you know, this is a saucy dish and this is a nice thick sauce. And I'm using a half cup measuring cup, and I haven't filled it all the way. You want about a little bit more than a fourth of a cup of flour. Butter melts differently. I'll be honest, it just depends on the butter you're using. If you're using margarine, we're kind of make a little roux here. So I don't add all of it at once, but I have a little extra in there in case I need to add some more. Give our pasta a little stir. All right, the butter is almost melted, so I am going to grab my beef broth. We're going to do 2 cups. This will continue to thicken up as everything heats up. So make sure you keep stirring your flour here in your sauce. We're going to add in about a half a cup of water. I'm going to grab some Worcestershire sauce. Set it today, all right. Some days it's a tongue twister spitting that one out. We're going to do about 1 tablespoon. Still have some garlic left in there, but that's okay. I'm going to add some salt. I'm going to use some sea salt. Some pepper. I'm going to grab some parsley. I'm going to add a little parsley now, and then I'll sprinkle a little on the very top when we go to finish baking it. And we're going to grab heavy cream. You want about 1/2 cup of heavy cream. So if I were going to add some cheese in, this is the part where I would add that in and let that cheese melt in with the rest of this. All right, we're gonna stir this every so often. We're gonna wait for our pasta to finish cooking al dente, which means not quite completely cooked all the way. Then we'll drain that pasta and we'll pull our meatballs out. They are in the oven. And again, we want those meatballs to cook for about 15 minutes before we add the noodles and the sauce to it. So we'll check in here shortly. Everybody, welcome back. So my meatballs have been cooking in the oven for about 15 minutes or so. They are definitely not cooked all the way. Please understand, you need to make sure you cook your meatballs thoroughly. They are gonna finish cooking here shortly because we're gonna add the pasta and the sauce on and throw the whole thing back in the oven. I have my pasta draining right now, so I'm gonna go grab it. And I'm gonna do my best to evenly get it scattered throughout my pan. And I've got my sauce here. I'm going to kind of put some noodles more to the side because I want to make sure they stay nice and saucy. Kind of evenly around the whole pan, the whole dish. And you can see that our sauce has thickened up quite a bit. It will thicken up some more as it bakes. And again, I did not add any cheese to mine this time, but I definitely, you know, I know how that goes to be a mom with picky eaters. So you want to make sure you get all of your meatballs, all of your shells covered, and get all of this sauce off here. And I'm going to kind of tuck the sides here just a little bit. We want to make sure we get that sauce kind of everywhere. And it will seep on down between your meatballs, the shells. Okay, we're going to pop this back in the oven for a good 20 minutes, probably closer to 30. Everybody's oven is a little different, so check on it in about 20 minutes. I always like to take a sharp knife and go to that meatball in the middle, or the biggest meatball. If you're not good at making even meatballs, get the biggest meatball and stick your knife in the middle and pull it apart. If it's still pink on the inside, it's not done and it needs to bake longer. You'll know when your meatballs are done because they'll be cooked all the way through. Oh my goodness, guys. Grace in the kitchen, I tell you, I'm staring right at it and I almost forgot to add it before we put it back in the oven. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more parsley and also some Parmesan on top. Just a little bit all across the top. Sprinkle a little more parsley. Doesn't take a lot. You could also use Italian seasoning if that's what you've got. There we go. Now let's go put her in the oven. All right, you guys, this is our finished Swedish meatball and shell pasta bake. Casserole, if you want to call it. Again, this is going to be an easy and delicious dinner tonight. But it's going to make some nice leftovers for the next couple of evenings when we have busy activities going on. And you guys, I'm so grateful and thankful that you joined me today. I'm going to pair it with a cheesy breadstick. Dinner rolls would go really well with this as well. Or some bread and butter. My husband likes to do a little pepper jack cheese on top, make it a little spicy, a little hot sauce. Thank you guys for joining us today, and be sure to hit that like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys next time.